Okay. Hello, I'm Herman Cain, and I want to welcome those of you that are watching 11 Eastern Time. If you like this, we may continue to do it on a daily basis. But if the feedback from you is you don't like it, then we're not going to do it. We wanted to be able to provide to you not only the Herman Cain radio show, but also an opportunity for us to maybe answer some of your questions during the breaks that won't be on the air, which you can submit at my Facebook page. Looking forward to it. Thank you for joining us for our first voyage, maiden voyage of the Herman Cain Show live streaming. Saving the greatest country in the world is not a short-term proposition, folks. We can save this great nation, but it's going to take all of us. Why? Because we are America.
Herman Cain. Herman Cain. Solutions for a better America.
Anytime.
This is your host, Herman Cain. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for joining us with our live stream. Because, we are going to tell you the truth. We're going to give you the facts because we want you to be better informed to help make this a better United States of America. In other words, we're here to help make this a better America.
A better America.
Our movement is about replacing a failed and corrupt political establishment with a new government controlled by you, the American people.
Herman Cain's connected, unfiltered perspective every day.
Now, I want to touch on two hot topics, two hot stories of the day, and give my perspective. And then I want to take your calls at 877-310-2100. The first topic, the whole Russian hacking issue. James Clapper, who is Director of National Intelligence, testified before Congress earlier this week where he says Russian interference in the U.S. elections shouldn't be a surprise.
The Russians have a long history of interfering in elections, theirs and other people's.
If they have a long history of interfering in elections, theirs and other people's, here's my question. 2 words. Why now? I think I have an answer. It's one of the sin tactics. S-I-N. Shift the subject. A lot of people are still in denial that Donald Trump is president-elect and that he will be confirmed out of the United States House of Representatives today and that he will take office on January 20th when he is sworn in. They are still in denial. And as Paul Ryan, Speaker of the House, says, President-elect Donald Trump is right to complain that some on the left are using the Russian hacking as a way to try to delegitimize his election.
He won fair and square. He won clearly and convincingly. Russia didn't tell Hillary Clinton not to go to Wisconsin or Michigan. They didn't put the server in her basement or put the stuff on Anthony Weiner's laptop.
He won. He's the president. We had a psychologist call last week who reminded us about the stages of grief. The first 3 stages of grief. First, denial. Many of them are still in denial. Secondly, anger. There are some liberals, some Democrats that are in denial and angry. So they can't get to stage 3, which is acceptance. I don't believe everybody's going to accept Donald Trump and be excited about his presidency. I get that. But if we are going to make this a better America, people are going to have to stop fighting against a new administration? What if people that demonstrated and encouraged demonstrations and encouraged all of this anti-Trump stuff back when Obama took office? There weren't demonstrations in the streets. People weren't trying to hold demonstrations on the day of his inauguration. No. They could have, but Republicans and conservatives did not do that. So you got to ask yourself the question, why is President Obama, yes, he also is distracting from all of this, and the Democrats and the liberals creating all of these distractions around the inauguration of Donald Trump? I can tell you why. The psychologists had it right. They're not only angry, but still in denial. And as we have a saying on this show, save the savable, we're not going to save everybody, but we will save some of the folk who will want to make this a better America. Second hot topic of the day, and it's not helping to make this a better America, is the situation that happened in Chicago, unfortunately, where 4 black youth, teenagers, 3 of them were teenagers, 1 was 24 years old, tortured a school-age, white, handicapped individual and posted it on Facebook. How sick. And what's even sicker is that they have been arrested and show no remorse for what they did. Now, maybe they will have an opportunity to think about it once they are convicted and they spend 20 or 30 years in prison. For some reason, they thought that they could take the anti-Trump sentiment to a violent level. I don't know anything about the background of these 4 young people. We know that there are a lot of problems in Chicago that have not gotten better in the last 8 years. But yet, some of these same anti-Trump folk don't want to talk about it, look the other way, and push against many of the things that Donald Trump has said that he wants to do differently to address the problem. They're not working for a United States of America. They're working for a divided States of America. I call them Democrat divisionist. And if you are a liberal activist, like some of them are, planning to hold rallies and demonstrations to distract from the Trump inauguration, some of the people from Hollywood are even planning to put on a big performance the day of inauguration to distract from the incoming president. I think that is ill-advised, and I think it shows that those same people who wanted Donald Trump to respect the outcome of the results, they are not respecting the outcome of the results. Those same people who talk a good game when it comes to, oh, we want to represent everybody, we want to come together, it's all hypocritical lip service. That's all it is. Hypocritical lip service. The good news is some of us do want this to be a better America. Some of us do want this to be a United States of America, because some of us are ready to move on. There's a lot of positive enthusiasm out there about the incoming president, and I happen to think it's going to remain that way. Why? Because he has set a positive tone from the top. A positive tone from the top. 877-31.
And happy 2017.
Thank you.
But I want to say something about how Obama trying to point fingers at Russia on how they doing all this stuff.
Right.
But what about all the stuff he did with Israel whenever they were voting for prime minister and all this other stuff?
He worked to try, and he worked through an organization and through one of his people to try and get Netanyahu defeated. That is a fact. But, Chris, what we have is the double standard by the liberal media. They did a drive-by report of that, but they didn't follow up on that, and they don't bring that up when they're talking about this Russian hacking thing because it doesn't fit their narrative. It doesn't fit this false attempt to delegitimize Donald Trump. It's not working, so they're just using the S in the syntactics, S-I-N, shifting the subject. That's why.
Yes, sir. And another thing, whenever he sit there pointing one finger, he needs to remember that he got 9 more pointing back at him.
My grandmother told me that. You're right. When you're pointing the finger, look at the one looking back at you. Thanks a lot for the call, Chris. Here's another thing about this whole Russian hacking thing. James Clapper has said clearly, they've been doing this for a long time. He's also said that their actions or efforts did not impact the election. He said that. So why are the Democrats continuing to chase this rabbit? The other thing that's going on here, the more they talk about the Russian hacking, which there's no there, is that when you look at Russia in the scheme of things economically, militarily, Putin is making Russia, the Democrats are making Russia bigger than it really is. Listen to these statistics. Our economy is nearly $18 trillion. Russia's economy is barely over $1 trillion. Why are we so worried about Russia? And following the United States, you've got Britain at nearly $3 trillion, China at $11 trillion, and Russia at $1.2 trillion. Yes. Hacking is something that our intelligence community ought to crack down on. I get that. And they should. But it doesn't change the contents of that which was hacked. Write that down, Shana B. It doesn't. It doesn't change that at all. Terry, you're on the Herman Cain Show, Terry. What's on your mind today, Terry, on the Herman Cain Show? Hello, Terry, you're on the Herman Cain Show. Go ahead.
Good morning. Yeah, I was just going to bring up one point that you missed on this mess going up there in Chicago with the 14s and the kid that got beat up.
Yes.
The parents are responsible for that too now.
Yes.
Upbringing.
Yes. Great point.
I mean, I just wanted to throw that out there.
Well, that is a good point to throw out there. Where were the parents? Where are the parents? Now, here's what's going to happen, Terry. They're going to show up at court, and they're going to sit there and proclaim, I can't believe my baby did this. That's what's going to happen, unfortunately. Rather than give them some tough love. You messed up. You know this was wrong. And now you're going to have to pay for it. Now you're going to have to pay for it. You're listening to the Herman Cain Show.
Herman Cain.
Always gives me insights to what I don't already think about or know.
Solutions for a better America.
Well, thank you for those that are streaming the show live. We are now in a break. And during the break, sometimes I talk with my illustrious staff, and that would be the illustrious Shani B. Shani B, you want to say hello to those that are still with us during the breaks?
Let me turn my mic on first. Hello, everybody. Listening to during the breaks. Actually, I'm on delay because I'm producing your show, but I'm watching you on YouTube, and there's a little bit of a video delay.
Well, see, I can't. I thought I was supposed to be on Facebook also.
You are.
But I can't see it.
This is a little behind-the-scenes stuff for
our
viewing audience.
Yeah, we see. That's why I said this is a test, folks.
No, this is good. I'm going to take control of your screen here.
Okay, take control of the screen so I can see myself. Not that I want to see myself, folks, but I got to see how this is looking.
We're all learning something here.
We're all learning.
I thought this was a Facebook live feed, but it's a YouTube live feed.
Correct.
That you put on your Facebook.
Correct.
So.
Can you post? Does it matter?
Well, let me show you here.
That's why we call it a test, folks. We're still working out the bugs, okay? And see, while we're waiting, I'll explain to many of you who may not know what our setup is. And don't tell anybody. That's one way for it to go viral, right, Jared?
That's right.
Jared, you want to say hello to those that are watching the show streaming live?
Well, hello to those that are streaming live.
And Ashley can't say hello yet, folks, because she's still screening phone calls. That's what she does. But she chimes in from time to time.
And see, I have remotely from the WSB studio, I've hacked
Yes.
into Herman's
Yes.
PC there in his studio. Okay, look at your screen here.
All right, I'm now looking.
It says the first hour of the Herman Cain Show is now live on YouTube.
Yes.
Watch it live here.
Got it.
If it was Facebook Live, your video would be right here.
I got you.
Going live.
Okay.
So I click this, and it takes me to YouTube.
Oh, okay.
And look at that ugly man.
Isn't he gorgeous? Isn't he gorgeous? Don't you have a song? Isn't she lovely?
I don't have a isn't he lovely? I don't know.
You don't have Isn't he lovely?
I'll find an instrumental and I'll serenade you.
And see, folks, here's the deal. Don't tell anybody, like I said, but see, Shani B, Jared, and Ashley, they are at the WSB host studio downtown. I'm remote. Yes, but I'm not going to reveal where because you got some nutbags out there that might try to hunt me down and find my studio. I'm not going to tell you where it is. I'm remote now. So what?
Tell them why you don't come in.
Because Jared says, why don't I tell you all why I don't come downtown? One big reason. I don't want to. It's in my contract.
You don't want to drive through Snowmageddon 2017?
Nope. Remember, the governor just declared a state of emergency because of the weather coming in. And you all want me to drive downtown in that stuff? I don't think so.
We did for you and you only.
You all are good troopers, and I love you for it. Ain't coming.
All right, so something about this video thing, Herman, that's really confusing me.
Okay.
I keep thinking this is FaceTime.
Okay.
And you look over into the camera, and I think you're looking over to me.
No,
right,
Shandy B.
I'm closing my screen out.
But don't close mine out.
I can't look at you no more. I
Well,
almost did close it.
I need to look at me so I'll know how this is coming across.
Okay, let's see. We have a minute and a half left in this break.
Okay.
We come back for a short segment, and then, in case you missed it, is coming up at 10:37.
Got it. Thank you, Shana B. Shana B wanted me to tell you that we got, in case you missed it coming up, it's our usual Friday segment. Oh, it'll be fun. It moves fast. It presents all of the highlights of the news of the week, and we go through that during the last half of the hour that we're in right now. So
Hold up your in case you missed it audio sheet for the camera. Let everybody see the madness that it is.
Really? They're supposed to think that I'm doing this from memory.
You are.
Now you're giving away one of my secrets.
Well, clearly there's got to be some kind of an organization to it.
Folks, this is what I work off of for in case you missed it. It is several pages of the hottest audio of the week, the hottest stories of the week, and we go through this with a lot of audio, and I editorial each of these stories. Why? Because I have been talking about them all week. And as Shane DeBee says, we're going to come back now for a short segment, take another break. I'm not going anywhere, so don't you leave. And then we're going to get into in case you missed it.
Stand by.
I'm sitting by.
Anytime.
Welcome back to the Herman Cain Show. Thank you for joining us today. As we continue to try to set the record straight, and we continue to try and help make this a better America, and we continue to work on the united part of the United States of America. And every day at this time, we do a special segment to bring everybody up to speed on what's been happening all week, a special segment that we call In Case You Missed It.
In case you missed it, Herman.
Yes.
It's not for another 11 minutes.
Oh, really?
Look at the time.
Oh!
You better talk fast, Lightning Lips.
My bad. In other words, folks, I messed up. We are still in break. Right?
No, we're not in a break. We're in the short segment.
Oh, we're in the short segment.
And you're live on the air.
Oh, gosh. I guess I'm a little nervous.
Did you give up Q-tips too soon?
He went a little too deep.
I tell you, folks, you know, there are a lot of moving parts to this show, as you might imagine. And see, I'm not blaming Shane, but he threw me off when he said, show them what we use for In Case You Missed It. So what did Herman think? It must be In Case You Missed It. No, it's not. We've got about another 30 seconds to go in this short segment that, quite frankly, we aren't going to try to put a caller on and rush them. So what I'm going to do...
We're going to promote In Case You Missed It.
We're going to promote coming up in the next segment. You don't want to miss it.
We have the repeal of Obamacare underway. We've had that horrible incident in Chicago to talk about.
We're going to review that.
115th Congress, if I counted correctly. Is it 115th Congress?
Yes.
That's right. Congress, and we have a liberal lunacy of the week that you do not want to miss.
Trust me, folks, these liberal lunacies of the week, they are flaming flame. Isn't that what I said earlier about Hillary running to replace de Blasio?
Yeah, the flame of flame. This is charbroiled today, folks. This is our first liberal lunacy of 2017, and I will promise you I had a hard time picking one out for this week.
It won't just be flaming liberal of the week. It would be charbroiled. I like that, Shane B. Write that down. You're listening to the Herman Cain Show, and I'm your 2017 host, Herman Cain.
Oops. Well, that's funny.
It is.
Yeah, you got to be careful of that.
I'll get in the groove. Remember, we got all in parts. See, folks, those of you that are still watching us on the stream, we have what you call a new clock for 2017. So the breaks are a little different than they were last year, and I'm still getting used to it. And this is what the clock looks like. The Shandy B prints out to help keep me on schedule. And so I'm still getting used to it. It's a new thing that we're trying with this streaming. And as you can tell, with so many moving parts, I got ahead of myself. I went into In Case You Missed It in the wrong segment. It'll be in the next segment, I promise you. And you're going to love it. You're going to love it. But here's the other thing that I had intended to do during the last break. But my staff got me so distracted, I didn't get a chance to do it. Are you all there? Or did you flip the button so you don't have to listen to me? They do that sometimes.
Oh, okay. Change the subject, huh? Okay.
They do that sometimes, folks. I'm just saying. I could be sitting here sometimes talking away, and if Shane doesn't hit a certain button, they can't hear me.
What did you plan to do, Herman? What did you plan to do?
I was going to describe to them my studio setup, because a lot of people may not be familiar with my studio setups.
That's true.
Let's go back to Shane is on a big control board downtown in the same studio with Jared and Ashley. Now, Shane complains constantly about the quality of that board, but because of his radio genius since birth, he's able to make what we call chicken salad without starting with chicken. Is he still there, or did he have to take a break?
I just walked in the door hearing chicken, and I'm thinking, oh, God, the door's open.
So, Shane, I did.
My heart stopped for a second.
Now, I just said, I gave you a compliment, Shane.
Oh, no, thank you.
The compliment was, you do a great job of making chicken out of that board without starting with chicken parts, okay? And remember, folks, since we're streaming live, this group has cleaned up its act and language impeccably.
I haven't cussed yet.
Not yet. But, folks, it may take us a while to get used to this, but this is what we hope to do every day during this hour and then during the break. Now, let me finish giving them a tour. So you got the downtown setup, okay? You have the setup that I have here. And Jared even asked the question, why not tell them why you don't come downtown? Answer, I don't want to. And with the blizzard being predicted today, folks, I'm glad I don't have to go downtown. Now, let me tell you about my studio.
Blame it on the blizzard.
Why not blame it on the blizzard? The Democrats are blaming everything on the Russians. Why don't I blame it on the blizzard? Maybe that's what they're going to blame next for Hillary's loss.
Probably.
Yeah, they're going to blame it on the blizzard. In my studio, folks, I have 2 computer monitors. One of my computer monitors has all of the phone calls that people call into, and Ashley screens them. So if you want to call the show, you can at 877-310-2100. If you want to make a comment, ask a question as part of the radio show. Now, when the calls come in, naturally there's a queue. We have 7 lines, and they generally stay pretty full. So if you dial 877-310-2100 and you don't get through the first time, it's because all of the lines are filled, okay? Now, the other thing that happens is Shaney B has the ability from downtown to hijack my computers. He just did it.
Like I just did.
I'm sitting here explaining the call screen, and he hijacked it. He can do that. That's okay.
It's a break. This is my territory.
This is his territory. Now, the reason I don't have a problem with him doing that is because he's a lot smarter than I am. Because he has to keep track as the executive. No, he's a senior executive producer.
That means I wear a shirt to work.
And he has to keep track of the flow of the show, the content of the show, whether or not Herman is back from his break or not. He sometimes breaks out into a cold sweat if the show is starting and I'm not back yet. He thinks I do that on purpose, but not really. So
I have an oh crap button.
Oh crap, he's not back.
Yep, here's a little preview of my oh crap button.
Okay. Michael from Oklahoma, you've got a minute on rapid fire. So he's got a bank of buttons where he can play stuff if I trip on the way back in, which I haven't done.
It sounds cool and collected on the air,
yes.
But behind the scenes I'm having a heart attack.
He's having a heart attack. Yeah.
Trying to dial out on our station phones that we can't figure out how to work.
He just tries to sound like he's cool, calm, and collected, okay? But sometimes I'm out and taking a break, or I'm talking to my staff here doing the break. Now, Ashley, are you with us? Folks, here's what you don't understand. Ashley sounds a little stressed right now. That's because not all of the calls are kind, if you know what I mean. And so we can always tell. And sometimes the best breaks are when we're listening to Ashley talk to someone that's difficult, if you know what I mean.
That's not only when they're not kind, that's when they're not really smart.
Oh, that's true. But anyway, Ashley is on the case, folks. 877-310-2100. You can call if you're watching live stream. Or, Shaney B, they could also type in a question or a comment on the Facebook page, right?
Well,
Not exactly.
Well,
Okay, we're not ready for that feature yet.
we'll work on it.
We'll work on it. All right.
Type a comment. We'll see what we can do.
All right. We're not going to make any promises.
This isn't a Facebook live feed, so it's different.
Got it. Like I said, folks, it's a test. We're working out the bugs. The
Back
good
in
news
15
is it's
seconds,
working.
And in case you missed it, time.
Okay.
For real this time.
For real, in case you missed it coming up. And then I'll give you a tour of the rest of my studio at the next break. And this is hot tea.
Anytime.
Welcome back to the Herman Cain Show with live streaming on YouTube and Facebook. Check it out if you are not driving a car or a truck. Not a good idea to try to watch a screen while you're driving. That has never worked out too well for folk. At this time each week, we do our special segment where we bring you up to date on the biggest, most talked about stories of the week in this segment that we call In Case You Missed It. I got it right that time, Shana B.
All systems are go.
Turkey, not the bird, the country. Security analyst Metin Gürkan says the terrorists in the New Year's attack on a Turkish nightclub appears to have been professionally trained.
It was not planned as a sort of suicide mission. It was planned as an hit and run, mission. The attacker, right now, he is on the run, and he planned his exit strategy.
He did because they have identified the alleged bomber, shooter, but they haven't caught him yet. And the Turkish prime minister says that terrorism is a global problem.
Terror cannot intimidate us. We will intimidate terror. We will continue to fight against it.
And that's the right tone that every country that's having to deal with terrorism ought to have. In case you missed it, Chicago violence. Eddie Johnson, Chicago police superintendent, says Chicago police are starting this year with a plan to curb the deadly violence in that city.
What matters is that we have to send a message to these individuals to not pick up a gun in the city of Chicago. If you do pick up a gun and you use
now it goes
you'll
to
be
the
held
Facebook
accountable.
thing.
And right now we don't do that.
Chicago Police Commander Kevin Duffin says all 4 defendants have admitted to assaulting the victim.
They admit that they were beating him, kicking him. They made him drink toilet water. And then obviously the video where they're cutting a piece of his scalp.
That simply was a very sick act. Not just violence, folks. It's sick. And maybe they'll be able to think about what they did when they get 20 or 30 years behind bars. Eddie Johnson, Chicago police superintendent, says his investigators had to compile the facts in order to charge the 4 defendants with a hate crime based on the live stream of the beating they posted on Facebook.
There was never a question whether or not this incident qualified to be investigated as a hate crime. But as I said yesterday, we need to base the investigation based on facts and not emotion.
And the fact is, it was a violent, sick crime. The fact that it was a hate crime just makes it even worse. In case you missed it, Obamacare. I might point out, folks, there hasn't been a day gone by or a week gone by and in case you missed it gone by that we didn't have something to talk about on Obamacare. That's because it's a disaster. Nancy Pelosi says instead of working on jobs or infrastructure, the GOP wants to begin the new Congress by attacking the president's health care law.
Our Republican colleagues have said they're going to launch their assault on the Affordable Care Act, and in doing so, it will be an assault on the Affordable Care Act, on Medicare, and Medicaid.
That is misleading. It is not an attack on Medicare and Medicaid. It is an attack on the disaster.
I think that in our defense, I think a lot of people are going to be looking at this and saying, gee, I really didn't mean that.
Who are these people? It's easy for him to say, but that's not what we've heard on this radio show for the last 4 years. It's been a disaster. Representative Frank Pallone, Democrat from New Jersey, says Republicans are blind to the success of the health care law, and repealing it will hurt millions of Americans.
Look at this practically. Your ideological bent is a lot of nonsense. This is something that works, and if you take it away, people are not going to have good coverage. You're not going to have any coverage in some cases. Their costs are going to increase. So I think look at it practically.
Earth to Representative Frank Pallone and the other Democrats that are in denial. It is not working for the majority of the American people. Mike Pence, Vice President-elect, made it very clear to Republican lawmakers Wednesday.
The first order of business is to repeal and replace Obamacare.
He went on to say that the health care law has been a disaster.
Obamacare has worked a hardship on American families, on American businesses, and in a very simple conclusion, the American people have sent new leadership here because Obamacare has failed.
It has failed, but they're in denial. And as expected, Senate Minority Leader Charles Chucky Schumer says the GOP approach would be disastrous for the country.
The Republican plan to cut health care wouldn't make America great again. It would make America sick again.
Make America sick again. M-A-S-A. I think the acronym is MASA. That's right, Lisa. The Democrats want to continue to be the MASA for people's health care. And they're saying no. Nancy Pelosi highlights the GOP's plan to phase in whatever would come after Obamacare.
To repeal and then delay is an act of cowardice. That means we don't really know what we're doing.
Nancy, memo to Nancy, the Republicans aren't going to repeal and delay. So there would be no act of cowardice. They already have a base plan that was passed in 2010 and again introduced in 2014. So they know what they're doing. Just stay tuned and try to work with them. Josh Earnest says getting rid of the health care law simply makes no sense.
Repealing the Affordable Care Act would have devastating consequences for people all across the country. And it's not something that Democrats support, nor should they. And we're seeing that a lot of Republicans are queasy about supporting it.
No, they're not. You want them to be queasy. He goes on to say that Republicans will have a hard time selling the nation on why its health care ideas are better.
There's also the rather inconvenient fact that the Republican ideas are actually bad for people. They're bad for the economy. They're bad for small businesses who are trying to pay for insurance for their employees.
That is simply not true, folks. And this is what Democrats and liberals do. They mislead people by telling them this kind of malarkey, and unfortunately, some of them will believe it. In case you missed it, 115th Congress. You got it right, Shandy B. Paul Ryan, Speaker of the House, says Republicans know that Americans want change.
We hear you. We will do right by you, and we will deliver.
Nancy Pelosi, House Minority Leader, says Democrats are ready to work with the Republicans for the good of the country.
In order to meet the needs of the American people, House Democrats pledge to seek common ground wherever we can.
Good words, Nancy. Let's just hope that you can follow up on it. Mitch McConnell, Senate Majority Leader, says bipartisanship can go a long way in the Senate.
If we work together, we'll be able to continue a record of achievement for our constituents, for our states, and for our country.
Good words, Mitch. That record of achievement has been a little light so far. And as you would imagine, Charles Chucky Schumer, Senate Minority Leader, had to throw some cold water on all of those wonderful intentions when he says Democrats can't automatically support GOP proposals just for the sake of unity.
There are those who suggest that our baseline posture
should be to work with the president-elect and have him pass his whole agenda. But, Mr. President, it is not our job to be a rubber stamp.
I don't think anyone is asking you to be a rubber stamp, Senator Schumer. People are asking you to do what's right, correct, for the people, and not just your political party. In case you missed it, the Supreme Court, Senate Minority Leader Charles Schumer, says the new president needs to nominate someone to the high court who isn't on the far right.
If they're in the mainstream, we'll give them a very careful look. If they're out of the mainstream, we'll oppose them tooth and nail.
Now, what's interesting is Donald Trump published a list of 21. Chuck Schumer's already said that they're going to oppose all of them. I don't think there's a candidate out there that they would go along with, because they're going to oppose them simply because. Mitch McConnell, Senate Majority Leader, says Schumer is wrong to suggest leaving the seat vacant.
Apparently, there's yet a new standard now.
Skip hacking and go to Ford.
Confirm a Supreme Court nominee at all. I think that's something the American people simply will not tolerate.
They will not tolerate that. In case you missed it, Ford Motor Company. Mark Fields says the election of Donald Trump played a part in the decision.
When we look at some of the tax and regulatory reforms that he's been talking about, that gives us a lot of confidence. And this is a vote of confidence that he can deliver on those things.
Confidence that he can deliver. Josh Earnest can barely contain his excitement about the good news.
This is only the latest step in a long-running, significant, and positive trend for the U.S. economy. That those jobs are being protected. So that's obviously good news.
Is he trying to spike the football as if they had something to do with it? He goes on to say that Obama welcomes the news from Ford.
The president has presided over an economy that's created nearly 900,000 manufacturing jobs, is pleased to hear when another 700 manufacturing jobs have been saved.
Spiky the football. In case you missed it. Liberal lunacy of the week. Get your coffee, folks. This is going to be fun. Hollywood whining about Trump again in a new video.
Dear members of Congress.
Dear members of Congress.
Dear members of Congress. Dear members of Congress.
I'm mad.
Flabbergasted.
Furious.
Concerned for my children.
I'm worried for everyone.
The majority of Americans, regardless of who they voted for,
did not vote for racism,
for sexism, or for xenophobia.
And yet Donald Trump won.
And since he won,
hate crimes are rising.
Women have been attacked in his name.
People of color attacked in his name.
You represent us in Congress.
You are our last line of defense.
So here's what we ask of our elected officials. No, here's what we demand.
To the extent that Trump pursues racist,
sexist, anti-immigrant,
anti-worker, anti-Muslim, anti-Semitic,
anti-environmental policies,
we demand that you vigorously oppose him.
We demand that you block nominees who threaten the rights of women,
the LGBT community,
people of color, immigrants, and the poor.
And we want you to know that we are with you.
As long as you do that stuff, we won't remain silent.
We won't remain silent.
We won't remain silent.
We'll work harder to mobilize our votes
and our communities.
But we need you.
And we expect you to have our backs.
To protect our civil liberties and to use your congressional powers
to obstruct.
To obstruct.
Obstruct, defeat.
Anything.
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 Anything that violates our core values as diverse Americans.
Signed,
the majority.
The majority.
The majority.
The majority.
The majority.
The majority
of the American people.
Why don't you all stick to acting? You are not political activists, and you do not speak for the majority. And that's in case you missed it. They want to demand that the Congress overturn the will of the people? I don't think so. Now that's in case you missed it, and nobody's more up to date than you, because you're listening to The Herman Cain Show.
He has solutions for a better America.
He's just common sense.
This is Herman Cain.
Well, this is Herman Cain. That's our weekly version of In Case You Missed It, folks. And completing we got one more segment during this hour after this break. And we'll probably take a couple of phone calls during that time. Not because I don't have plenty to say, but because we also really do enjoy listening to you, answering your questions when we can, etc. But back to my office, my studio. 2 monitors. One has the call screen. One has either my website or YouTube or Facebook, whatever I want to put over here. So this acts as my computer that I can work with when Shaney B does not hijack it. He hijacks my computer often. Why? Because I need the help. Remember, I'm supposed to be working and thinking about content. So Shane, quite honestly, does a great job of trying to keep all of the technical stuff going, connected, and moving. I hope he's not listening. And then over on my right, far right, I have 2 TV monitors. One of my TV monitors is set on mute to the Fox News channel. The other TV monitor is set, well, it used to be set on CNN and on mute. The last couple of weeks after the election of Donald Trump, the bias was so apparent on CNN, I couldn't stand to watch it anymore, to be perfectly honest with you. Originally, my intent was to look occasionally out of the corner of my eye or occasionally during the breaks to see what stories were being carried by the supposedly two major cable news stations. And what I have observed ever since I put this in place 4 years ago is that.
Well, now this will be a different thing. Well.
Okay. She has hit the restart button, so I should be back on. And there's probably a little bit of a delay. Yeah.
Well, we're back in 1 minute.
Okay. It's running again. Yeah. But as I was saying, folks, the 2 monitors over there, I used to have it on CNN, one of them, the other one on Fox. The one on CNN the last couple of weeks, I just turned it to Fox Business because CNN, their blatant liberal bias was so blatant that it was getting nauseating just to watch it, even out of the corner of my eye. Even out of the corner of my eye. All right, let's get a great phone call here, Ashley. Who would you suggest? Okay.
She had so many great ones to choose from.
It was a hard decision. I get it.
Okay, we're back. Back in 10 seconds. Sorry, I was thinking of something else.
Okay.
My mind wanders.
We know. See, this is the other thing you all are going to learn about this group, folks.
That they need to be heavily medicated. Anytime.
Welcome back to the Herman Cain Show. Live in 2017 and live streaming. Thank you for joining us. 877-310-2100 is the number that you can call if you would like to ask a question or make a comment on the show, such as Sue. Hello, Sue. Welcome to the Herman Cain Show. What's on your mind today?
Well, I'd like to make a comment about the gentleman that said, where was the parent?
Yes.
About the kids in Chicago.
Right.
First of all, with Obama being in for 8 years, both parents usually have to work.
Right.
And second thing, you whip your child this day and time, you go to jail. DCS will put you in jail for whipping your children. My daughter was called on 3 times for spanking her children.
Wow. 3 times. Now, Sue, you raise a very good point. Very good points. However, there are some things that you can do to discipline your children without being called, being called by the authorities. And that's a topic that we probably ought to get to on GPS one day. Thank you. You're listening to the Herman Cain Show. We will be, I'm not supposed to say that, am I, ashamed to be?
Back.
Herman Cain, 2017.
Is my kid in the right car seat? I guess she is.
There are
Good job, folks. Good job. Okay, what is this stuff up here that I have? Let's see. I'm still streaming, but I'm trying to turn it off. Okay. Started streaming 53 minutes ago. Stay tuned. Okay, to those of you that are still watching the live stream, this completes our test. And Melanie, please come in and turn this off so I can take a break. However, I liked it, and we are going to continue to do this starting Monday, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time every day. That is either until I pass out and can't do it, or you decide that you don't like it. But we are going to be doing live streaming now that we've figured out a few of the technical bugs. See, I had to talk to her through Facebook for her to come in here and turn it off. Thanks for watching, folks. Monday, we will be live streaming again. If you want to listen to the Herman Cain Show, you can listen live on one of the 5 Cox area stations, Atlanta, Jacksonville, Orlando, Tulsa, or Dayton, Ohio. The show will be live on your radio station. Or, I need a card. You can listen to the Herman Cain Radio Show on your cell phone. Yes, on your cell phone. All you have to do is go to hermancain.com. This isn't it. hermancain.com and click on the little microphone or click on the little icon for the radio show. Herman Cain Show 24/7 on your cell phone. Just go to hermancain.com. Have a great weekend. I'm Herman Cain, 2017.